Hello and welcome to this episode of the Freedom Seeker Show, where we have unfiltered conversations that matter to women. And today with me, I have here Katie Nelson, and I'm so beyond stoked to have you on the show because you have helped me tackle my biggest issue in my business, and that was sales. Having some, that little thing called money that needs to come into the business in order to keep doing what we're doing. Katie is a sales catalyst. She's a business coach, and her company is called Sales Uprising. And all of it very appropriately, as you will see in just a few minutes, named because I have so enjoyed working with you thus far in just your energy and your personality and what you contribute to the conversation. Like, I had 1 hour of coaching with you, and after that hour, like, my mind was blown. It was one of those defining moments in my business where I was like, I do need to do the things that you suggested I would do. And my business has turned around. It's definitely moving in the right direction, right? Like, I'm just so stoked. So that's why I thought it would be really fantastic to bring you onto the Freedom Seeker Show so that we can share some of what you know in the time that we have with the women that are in this community here. So, Katie, I just read a quote actually on your website. Let's start there. That because I thought, oh wow, this just sums it up so beautifully. You say, sales is the spark to feed the fire of business growth.
Yes, ma'am.
There we go again. It is. How many business owners do you know, or have you had in your practice that have come to you that, like me, that have come to you and say, I just don't have enough conversion. I just don't have enough people, buying my coaching program or my whatever book or whatever their offers are. And you say,
I say, is it really a conversion problem? Right? Like, that's the thing. Sales is so often not spoken about. Right? When you and I had our conversation, we had to work for a hot minute to really get to what it was, right? Marketing has done an amazing job of making sales be not the thing we focus on in our business.
Oh, wow. And that is such a beautiful quote right there, because you're bang on there. Like, that is exactly true. I spend so much time focusing on Facebook ads and Google ads and all of that stuff, versus
actually selling, right? So yeah. The thing about it for my clients, the majority of my clients have yet to make their 250K mark in revenue, for top line revenue for their business. And so often there's a reason why that is a number for sole proprietors. There is a ton of research that talks about the importance of that number for businesses that are growing and scaling. And so often we don't even think about our revenue number. We think about getting a list. I need to create the most amazing list. Well, that's wonderful, but how do we do that, right? Mm-hmm. So I think one of the things that we talked about was knowing your numbers, mm-hmm. right? Definitely having your revenue goal in mind at all times. Top line, don't worry about your profit at the moment. If you know what profit is, that's amazing. But let's actually just work on generating money for your business and getting comfortable, like strengthening your sales muscle. Let's work on that before we try to win the marathon of being a business owner, right?
It's so beautifully said. And that's exactly where I am and where I was. I was trying to create all of this smoke cloud almost, right? Like this big curtain, and never really focusing on the actual specific thing that I needed to do. And when I literally, when we had this conversation and you asked me, so how many calls have you actually made? Like, how many people have you actually reached out to? And I said 0, almost shamefully, because I was like, I know better. Like, I mean, this is what I do for business owners, right? I realized in that moment exactly what you said. I've been focusing on the marketing, not on the sales. And that has just about crippled my business, because I've gotten really good at understanding all these different vehicles and how social media works and how Facebook ads work. But the number one thing that I didn't focus on was good old fashioned knocking on doors, or picking up the phone, reaching out to the people and
clients, right? Like that's
right?
the thing. And so, my claim to fame at Sales Uprising and as a business coach is to get you to 250K as fast as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Yvonne, you understand that there's more than one way to grow a business. You don't have to choose to grow your business quickly. The slower you choose to grow your business, the more you put yourself at risk that you will be a statistic.
That's right.
Of a failed business, which is why it is so important for me personally and a part of my mission to get business owners ramped up as quickly as possible, right? And through the most difficult parts. The truth of it is you have all of the time in the world to learn these things. You have all of the time in the world to understand how to create a list, much less utilize one from a marketing space if you are generating cash. You have paid yourself as the business owner to learn how to do that.
Yeah.
So it's literally a chicken and egg thing, right? And in this instance, sales should always come before marketing. Through selling, through your sales process, you actually create the strongest marketing for your business.
Yeah.
That's how you really understand what it is you do, because you understand it through the eyes of your client.
So
and
true.
we all know that marketing is about our clients. It's not about us. It's not me standing on a mountain shouting about how great Katie Nelson is and right? It's about the people that I serve and what they have to say and what I provide them with and the value that they get and how much they can grow and all of those things. Best marketing ever, right?
Absolutely. So where do you think sales got such a bad rap?
I blame marketing. Sorry, it's an old joke for the people who know me. Marketing is amazing at making things beautiful or ugly, right? Sales has nothing to do with making things beautiful or ugly. It's just the doing part.
Yeah.
So I blame marketing. I think marketing is the one that was like, here's why. I cannot tell you, if I had a nickel for every person who has used the used car salesman analogy for selling, I would be the richest woman alive. And who do you think created that look? I have a client who is in marketing, as a matter of fact, and I'm going to have to get her to write the story down for me or send me a list. But ultimately, marketing is the one that created that story about the used car salesman. And I think what it had to do with was either being able to buy a car online so that you could skip that sleazy sales guy, or it had to do with going directly to a dealer, right? So instead of the used guy, you would go and maybe it was Volkswagen. You would go to Volkswagen and you would buy a brand new Volkswagen instead of having to deal with that guy.
Yeah.
So I blame marketing.
Yeah, I love that answer, actually, because you're probably right about it. Like that's probably where it came from. Like, I know for me, personally, it was that sleaziness around it that I've gone back into my story a little bit as to identify, where did that come from for me? Like, where did I get this idea or this notion that sales is bad? And I don't know if I told you this on our call, but I was an insurance saleswoman knocking on doors. And I can't tell you how many doors I had slammed in my face, because I was that person with the binder in her arm, and
what you were selling, like, let's call a spade, Yvonne. You were selling insurance. Insurance has everything to do with risk aversion and risk management and making sure that there's something to catch you when you fall. So in and of itself, insurance, amazing products. Everybody should have insurance. Are you paying attention? No, I don't work for an insurance company, but you should get some. Insurance is amazing. So why would that ever be sleazy? Why wouldn't you want to walk around in your own neighborhood and make sure that all of these people are taken care of, whether it's by you or
but it was making the
whoever.
people feel uncomfortable, right? That I was trying to have this conversation with. And so they were slamming these doors in my face. And I mean, I was 20 something, like I was just completely fresh out of university. I was still very fragile, if you will.
Some of the best sales training ever, right?
It was, but it literally put me into the ground, if you will. I don't know where that analogy came from, but yeah, it did. It put me in the ground for not wanting to be in sales, and I think I've literally avoided sales ever since then, for nearly 20 years.
I know if you guys don't know, it was it was like a hefty call the week that Iman and I had. I started selling on the phone, like call centers back before do not call lists and all of these things, and had plenty of people hang up on me.
Yeah.
I think that the biggest difference between you and me is that it never occurred to me that that was my fault. Like, that's their opinion about whoever's calling, and they don't know me. So I didn't take a whole lot of responsibility or absorb their feeling about that person to me personally.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I'm glad you said that, because I think that that is a big part of it is the perception on what I made of this story, but how deeply it actually sunk into me, and how much time I wasted worried about some guy that slammed a door in my face like 20 years ago. So that is interesting. So you started in a call center. Tell me a little bit more about what that was like, from moving from that into Sales Uprising. Like, how long ago did you start Sales Uprising?
To tell you the story of the call center to Sales Uprising is almost my entire life. So maybe we'll just take chunks of that, because the call center job was when I was just legal enough to work in the US, which is when you're 15 and a half. Sales Uprising is 4 years old. We just had our 4-year birthday or anniversary, depending on how you look at it, in August. And it's actually my third business. I'm one of those serial entrepreneurs. So this is not my first go round. It is the first time that I've owned my own business and that I don't have a partner. And when we talk about freedom, oh, what a lovely thing. So I love it. I absolutely love it. But yeah, I started in sales forever and ever ago. That was my very first job. It's been my recurring job. My family members are in sales.
Well, sales is not a sleazy word in your family.
No, sales is my love language, girl. Sales brings you everything. Sales brings you the money to be able to do what you want. But now, even more importantly, in what I do in Sales Uprising, sales brings me relationships, juicy, beautiful, relationships that are, who doesn't want that? That's amazing.
I love that. I love that connection, actually, because that's how I've been finding since I've been picking up the phone and reaching out to people. That's exactly what I've been finding is that I'm building and growing and like nurturing relationships. I'm not feeling like I'm, like I was feeling when I was putting up these ads on Instagram or Facebook. In fact, I was just thinking that because I have a retreat coming up, and that our conversation came back to me is like, no, I was spending, I don't know, a couple of hours or so worrying about how I'm going to post it and when to post it on Facebook and on Instagram. And then I thought, no, I'm going to reach out to a very select group of people who I would like to be at this retreat. And I'm going to reach out to them, not through social or anything like that. That reminds me of a question that I actually legit have for you around that reach out part. Picking up the phone cold, like, how we say cold calling. When you haven't had really a connection, or maybe you haven't talked to someone in a while, it does feel to me like, okay, I'm just phoning them for the purpose of, telling them about my upcoming retreat. How would you bridge that gap?
One, I think that that's a really great question. And two, is that really the only reason you're calling them?
No, I'm legit
Oh,
wanting
okay.
to know what's.
Let's take no, right? So
Yeah.
the thing is that that's not really true,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that's just more mind junk. I'm never going to place a call just because I want to sell you something. Like that seems like a waste of time. I could send
Mm-hmm.
you an email if I wanted to try and sell you something, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm going to call you because I want to know how you're doing. Just period. That's why I make phone calls, is to check in on my people, whoever those people are.
Right.
But it's always in continuance of a conversation. Not everybody's worth a phone call. There's
Yeah.
also that, right? I'm a business owner. You're a business owner. You have a finite amount of time, just like every other human on earth. You need to spend that time with care and intention. And so my people know that when I call them, it is most likely for an urgent reason that benefits them, no matter what it is, right? I have friends who won't miss calls from me because when they do, sometimes they miss a great referral at that exact moment, or whatever the case is. So I don't call for no reason. I always call for very important reasons. And that's, I want to know how you're doing. I want to check in with you. And I don't know if you knew this, but the last we talked, this is where you were. And I happen to be hosting a retreat about that. So if you're interested, I wanted to be able to give you the opportunity to learn about it.
Oh, I love that. See, there was so many different reframing that I've noticed in just what you've so beautifully illustrated, because it is true. We aren't just phoning people to sell them something, but I wonder if they're not answering the phone anymore because they think I'm going to sell them something. So it's important, I guess, to start having conversations around that with the people that are in my community.
Well, and so I have a question for you then.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's just you that they don't answer the phone for?
No, I know
Right?
that. I know that's not just me. Yeah.
Right. So, and that's the thing, right? As a society, we've literally, I think Facebook, nope, not Facebook. Who runs this phone? Apple.
Mm-hmm.
Apple just came out with another piece of operating system that said, we're so thrilled to deliver you the potential spam blocker. So now any number you know or don't know will immediately go to your voicemail. Now, at the beginning of it, you're like, yes, that's amazing. I don't want to talk to all those people about the election or whoever they are, or they're trying to sell me something, or those robots that call me and say that their name is Tim. Of course, I don't want to talk to them. But then you think about it and you're like, oh, for those of you watching this, if you don't know, both Yvonne and I are members of EWomen Network. It's a large international community. Under no circumstances do I have every connection that I have in EWomen in my phone.
That's right.
So if they're automatically going to my voicemail, that means I may miss out on connecting with them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So if I had that 2 minutes, say I'm sitting there, it's a perfectly open time in my schedule to be able to take a call and the phone doesn't ring, I've missed an opportunity for connection. Right?
So true. Wow. Wow. So is this side question, is this an app that I can opt out of, or is this something
I
that
haven't
is
figured
built?
it out yet. I don't know if anybody somebody more technically savvy than me needs
Maybe
to.
let us know in comments
Yeah, please.
how to opt out of this.
Answer this for me.
Because I completely agree. And I think it was you, or maybe it was someone else through EWomen that I was talking with, because what my phone is doing is any number that's from the US
Is potential spam.
outside of, exactly, or outside of Canada, I should say. I haven't tested it with Europe, but if you're not in my contacts, it won't even ring.
Any number that is not a contact that your phone recognizes will be sent to voicemail. And it sounds like it would be so amazing, and it's just not.
It's not, but it's also we're talking of different generations as well, Katie. And I wonder if that's been coming up for you in your coaching calls, because there's the generation that I'm just on the tail end of, called millennials, and a lot of them don't use the phone for phoning or talking on the phone, like they
For connection, right?
Yeah.
So, I think that they just haven't gotten there yet. I mean, now here's the thing.
Maybe.
Right? So, hey, y'all, again, use your fingers, type in comments. But, so say a Zoom call. Like, I love Zooms. I call them Zoom calls, right? I don't even call them Zooms, because to me, this is just another form of a phone call. I also just get to see your face. So that's really fun. I think that I'm very hesitant to say that it's a generational concern and a generational concern only. Because I think that that's painting with a broad brush. And I know that that's not what you were talking about. But I do understand that technology has, I think I'm the last generation where technology wasn't what we were born with, right? So we didn't have a computer in my house until I was 8. Now that would never be heard of. If you're born right now, you have a computer in your household, depending on where you are born. I don't even know that it's a concern. If people who don't answer their phone, are they your ideal client? Like, that's the thing. Are we really worried about if somebody doesn't answer the phone? Like, what if that's my ideal client? My ideal client likes to connect.
Mm-hmm.
Why am I worried about it?
It's a really interesting question, and I think that this is worthwhile exploring. Not right now, but definitely, because here's what's coming up for me. It's not just about clients. Like, I know friends who I consider friends that won't pick up the phone when I call. Now, is that a reflection on me, or I go back to your question, which was, is it just me? And I know it's not just me, right? Like, I know that some of them just don't answer the phone. They
here's
wait
the thing,
until
right?
they get the text, and that's that.
So here's the thing, right? All of us are massively busy. Like, we probably shouldn't be as busy as we are, but we allow ourselves to be this busy.
Again, a whole other interview.
Right. That's a whole other conversation. But can you always take a call? The answer is no. So texting is a fantastic option when you have a relationship with someone, to say, hey, yo, girl, when you get a chance, give me a call back. It's only a 5-minute convo, right? Mm-hmm. My friends will know that I am just as likely to out of a text conversation. If it's 3 texts or more, it could actually happen faster if we just talk to each other.
Totally.
So I'm all about efficiency as well.
Yeah.
Texting is
not efficient. No.
Not efficient. It is not an efficient answer. So then there's voice texting. I like not voice to text, but like literally sending someone the recording of your voice, which I like a little bit better. I can do that a little bit longer because I can hear context, right? So for me, when I went to school, I graduated as a communications and sociology major, basically.
Oh, incredible.
And it's all about communication, and so much is lost in 160 characters or in what you can text.
Yeah.
The texture, the flow, someone's mood. I mean, unless they put an emoji, and then what if they put the wrong emoji? There's always like the wrong emoji. Oh, girl. Right? So you've been telling somebody how angry you are, and what you're doing is sending them the smiley face. It's very confusing for the person who gets it. Talk about misunderstandings or miscommunications that can be very easily explained. And so, or conversely, you're having this great time, so you're trying to convince them that you've had this great day, or communicate that you've had this great day, and the emoji you send is like that angry one. I mean, it's very unsettling if you see those types of types.
I'm just thinking of a birthday emoji I sent once. The Bitmojis,
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So there's one, and I didn't realize, I guess I didn't look close enough, but I sent it to a friend who is male, and we're friends. Like, my husband and I are friends with them, and I sent him a birthday Bitmoji where I'm at the end of it. message. So it just makes me laugh so hard because you're so right. Like I meant to do a nice birthday.
Right. You're like, this is not what I meant to communicate. I mean, happy birthday. I was trying to tell you happy birthday, but this was not the specific happy birthday message. And this is what I mean, right? And so luckily for you, it was really funny. And now it will be a story forever and ever.
Forever and ever. And you know, to your point, and I would love to actually wrap it up with this, because I think you're making such an incredibly important point here. My question would be, how do I know, how would I distinguish, as a busy business owner who only has so much time throughout the day, how do I distinguish between when to send an email, when to send a voice text, and when to send and when to actually call someone? Like, do you have a distinction between them?
Yep, and it really has to do with my own personal energy as a CEO and business owner, and whatever my schedule says, right? I'm a very scheduled person. When we're talking about efficiency, that's the best way to make something happen.
Yeah.
When I'm thinking about my life as a salesperson, we had windshield time, right? So you're in between business meetings and you're commuting. So you're looking through your windshield, and these are great times to fill in with quick calls, even if it's just to say, hey, right? You always have those clients that you're like, hey, I had this thing happen to me 2 weeks ago. I wanted to tell you about it. So I've got a story for you, and I have these 15 minutes. You know, I know of so few people who aren't willing to listen to that, right? Or engage in that kind of conversation. It's a light conversation, and it's just another touch, right? So we usually use our marketing, like a drip campaign, as a touch campaign, right? Let me go ahead and touch you. And so many touches to be able to make a conversion. For me, it's not so much about knowing the exact right time, it's knowing the exact right time for me. And then whatever response I get will let me know whether or not that was a good time.
Right.
So it's my job to pay attention to, if I'm having, say, a call spree, I set aside 4 hours of my day just to make calls. Did I get anybody to talk to? Like, did anybody have time to talk to me at that moment? Right? Or did no one pick up the phone and I should take a look at another time? Yeah. It's no different than your email outreach.
Yeah.
Do I know that they open these emails? Same thing with your Facebook ads or your Facebook posts. Did I get a ton of people looking at them when I send it out, or did the bulk of the eyeballs on it not happen until after dinner?
Right.
Whatever the case may be.
Yeah. Yeah. Love it. I love it. I love it. And I want to thank you again. I know I've said it already multiple times, but I just think the value you bring to the conversation of sales is tremendous. I think that this conversation needs to be had, and I think you are an amazing person to have it, because I mean, look, I don't think I've ever laughed this hard on my own interview.
Good.
It was so enlightening, and even in the short amount of time we had, you dropped some really great nuggets for me to again ponder upon and you know and take into my business.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to get to speak to your community, both EWomen and here. You know, I'm 100% a sales catalyst, and the reason that they call me that is because I think, you know, one of the things you said is, Katie, none of the things that you taught me are new, but I got them this time. It is literally my kind of superpower, if we're allowed to say that, to make sales approachable. Yeah. Is to get you through your own eyeballs, right? I get to talk to you and understand your concerns or fears or misunderstandings or challenges with sales. And getting to know you, I can actually make sales approachable for you, make it reachable, make you understand it and its purpose for you in your life as a business owner. And that's really everything that I love.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that. And I can feel that you love that. And you're incredibly good at it. So I love it. I would love to have another conversation at another time. So if you're open to it, let's keep that open, as maybe we'll get even our audience to get some questions to us so that we can answer some questions live. Oh, we could do it live and answer some real life question. I'm working on that.
Look, you know my number. Because I have programmed you in my phone, you will never go directly to voicemail.
Neither will you. You're in my
Wonderful.
phone. Yeah. That's just insane. I have to look into that. Like, I seriously do.
Please, somebody give me the answer.
I will. I will look into it. I don't know if I'll have the answer, but I'm certain that we'll find.
We'll figure it out.
Figure it out. Yeah. Thank you so
Fun.
much, Katie.
Thank you.
And we'll see you on the 15th.
Yes, ma'am.
Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Hey, love, did you enjoy this conversation? Then join in at www.yvonnewinkler.com/blog and leave me a comment of what you liked about this episode and why. If this added value to your life, then please share this with all of your friends on social media and hashtag The Freedom Seeker Show. I really appreciate you watching and helping me spread the word. And as a token of my appreciation for sharing this episode, your name will be entered into my monthly gratitude draw for a chance to win something from my favorite product list. So don't forget the hashtag, The Freedom Seeker Show. I'll see you next time. Rise, bloom, and radiate.